get frustrated, can't figure out why we're struggling. So the quote, failure has more to do with a lack of determination than a lack of talent. All right, I'll read it again. Failure has more to do with a lack of talent, or has more to do with a lack of determination than a lack of talent. All right, guys. As athletes, we know firsthand that those guys that have more talent or have more ability have an advantage, right? Right? Okay. But we also know that talent isn't everything. Talent alone isn't enough. You gotta have something inside of you. You gotta have a little drive, a little passion, a little desire about what you're doing. Okay, and I started thinking about that, and one of the examples that I thought of were the ultra marathon runners. Okay. Does anybody know how long a marathon is?
26 miles. 26 miles.
26.2 miles. Okay. That's a marathon. Ultra marathon runners, they're 50, 100 miles, even up to like 130, 140 miles at a time. Think about that. Some of y'all struggle to run 2 gassers. These guys are going out and running 100 miles at a time. Lasts over a couple days. Now, sure, there's a little bit of technique to it. Sure, there's got to be some resemblance of athletic ability. But after the first mile or two, does that matter?
No.
Really? No? What matters is a mental state. It's a mental state, mind over the body. They're committed to what they're doing. They're committed to finishing that race. Anybody can go out there and run a mile. Anybody, if you set your mind to it, can run 2 miles. But to run 100 miles, that takes something a little bit different. You know, Coach talks about it sometimes, about being all in, being invested, being committed to what you're doing. Those guys are committed to being all in. Okay? Now, when you think about it, if you're going to pick a team, what's your first choice? You're probably going to pick, in the case of football, you might pick the fastest guy, or the strongest guy, maybe the smartest guy. But listen to what God said. All right, 1 Corinthians 1:27, it says, instead, God has chosen what is foolish in the world to shame the wise. And God has chosen what is weak in the world to shame the strong. All right, one more time. So instead, God has chosen what is foolish in the world to shame the wise. And God has chosen what is weak in the world to shame the strong. So I read that and I think, man, what's he doing? You know, it's God. He can take the best of the best. But it doesn't sound like he is, does it? It doesn't sound like he's taking the 5-star prospect of discipleship. He's going to take that average guy. And my mindset, when I think about that, is, you know what? He's thinking, I don't need that guy. I don't need that 5-star. I need a bunch of guys that are going to be all in, that are going to be invested, that are going to be committed to me. If I got those guys and they're committed to me, I can elevate them. I can lift them up. Okay, and you start thinking about, you know, why would he do that? Why would he pick those guys? Why wouldn't he just take the best of the best? And one of the examples, you know, from scripture that comes to mind is the book of Acts. I don't know how many of you have ever read Acts. If you haven't, I recommend you do so. Long story short, the book of Acts, what it does is it tells about all these amazing things that God can do with normal people, but that are invested in Him, that are all in with Jesus Christ. Okay? Long story short, that's what it's about. Now, if you get into it and you start reading and you hear about all these stories, all these amazing, these great ministries that these guys have, and they're not the best of the best. So they do have some challenges, some obstacles to kind of overcome. But anything that's good, you're going to have those challenges. Those things are going to come up. But they were all in. So any opposition that they had, it really didn't matter, okay? Because it wasn't going to stop them, it wasn't going to slow them down. One verse specifically kind of sums that up. So Acts 4:13, and it says, when they observed the boldness of Peter and John and realized that they were uneducated and untrained men, they were amazed and recognized that they had been with Jesus. Think about that. Uneducated. They weren't the smartest guys. Untrained. They really didn't know what they were doing. But what the people saw, they saw something special in them. They realized there was something special about them. And what was special was they were all in with Jesus Christ. They bought into him. They committed to him. And then he's going to lift them up. So too often, I feel like anymore there's too many people that focus more so on things that they don't have than things that they do have. And with this in mind, it kind of leads you to two different mindsets. All right? I think this especially holds true to the people in this room. There's some people who think, I understand, I'm not the greatest, I'm not the best. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to take a step back. I'm going to take a lesser position. I'm not going to put myself out there. I'm not going to do anything that's going to challenge myself. On the flip side of that, you got people who will say, you know what, God, I'm not the smartest guy. I'm not the fastest guy. I'm not the strongest guy. But I'll give you what I got. I'll give you my life. And then I pray that you lead and guide me in the right direction to do the things that I need to do to get where I want to go. And then I'm going to believe in my heart that you're going to make up the difference. You're going to pick me up where I fall short. You're going to elevate me to levels that I can't even comprehend. And those are the types of people that can really enjoy life. That really understand it, they get it. Because like you heard me say before, embrace the process. There's too much of this, instant gratification stuff. Life doesn't work like that. For a lot of you guys, a lot of people around, high school is the end-all, be-all of your life. That ain't how it works, fellas. High school is just a training ground for you to figure out what kind of man you're going to be once you leave here. That's it. Now, if we want to have, those kinds of results in our lives, we want to be lifted up, we want to be elevated. Like the coach always says, you got to be all in. We've had these models this year, kind of just us, all in. I feel like we get the just us part, but I don't feel like everybody gets the all in part. Now you can change that, but you got to be committed to it. And it doesn't just affect football, okay? Obviously with football, being all in, winning every rep in practice, being in the weight room, watching film, doing the things you're supposed to do. It applies to your grades, okay? Be at school, get to class on time, do the things you're supposed to do. If those guys are in the corner, laughing around, joking, goofing off, is that helping you do what you need to do? Get where you need to go? No, you better check it. That goes towards, your relationships in life. Most of you have at least one parent in your life. Some of you have two. Some of you don't have either one, but you got a grandma, grandpa, aunt, uncle, somebody that serves that role in your life. Treat them with respect. They're not going to be there forever. The other relationships in your life, okay? Be the best son you can be. Be the best friend you can be. Be the best teammate you can be. Fellas, it takes zero effort to be an honest, genuine, good human being. Some of you guys, you got girlfriends. You know what? That's awesome. You need to have those experiences. But the same principle holds true. Be honest, be faithful, treat them with respect. Treat them how they deserve to be treated. Because guys, one day, God willing, you'll be a husband and you'll be a father. And think of it this way. What if that's your daughter? Would you want your daughter to date you? Would you want your daughter to hang out with, to talk to somebody that acts like you do? And if right now you're thinking, no, probably not, well, hey, you better check yourself. You better get your priorities right. Because one day, God willing, that will be your daughter. And you're going to be praying that somebody's treating her like they deserve to be treated. Understood? Now, I was going to kind of end it there, but Lo, where's Lo at? You still got that shirt? Lo wore a shirt today. So, what's it say?
Respect is earned.
It says, respect is earned. So that reminds me of a quick story, and I told Coach Rudolph I'll tell this story. So it's not mine, I stole it, ain't gonna lie. You guys know the Harbaughs, right? Coach Harbaugh in Michigan, the Ravens. I heard the dad tell it a few years back. The story's about Muhammad Ali, right? Everybody knows Muhammad Ali. Greatest boxer of all time. 1967, he's got a title fight coming up. A guy named Ernie Terrell, the challenger. The night before the fight, they're at the press conference, just like you see on UFC. Not as exciting as now. But you see Conor McGregor up there talking. Same kind of deal. So they're up there talking, and Ernie Terrell, and just as quick background information, this is the time when Muhammad Ali, he was still known as Cassius Clay. He converted to Islam and changed his name to Muhammad Ali. All right? So they're at the press conference, and a couple questions go by, and Ernie Terrell keeps referring to him as Cassius Clay. Cassius Clay. Muhammad Ali finally says, man, why do you keep calling me that? Why do you keep calling me Cassius Clay? Why won't you call me by my name? Ernie Terrell says, I don't know Muhammad Ali. To me, you will always be Cassius Clay. Muhammad Ali says, you will know my name. You will know my name. So next day, the night of the fight, they get out there, ding, 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 pop! He comes out, hit him. What's my name? Guys ringside. They said 10, 12, 15 times every round they didn't hear it. Pop, pop! What's my name? What's my name? About the 8th round comes around. Here, stand up, folks. 8th round comes around, hits him one time, start to fall. Start to fall. He catches him, looks up and said, no, I'm not done with you. You're done when I say you're done. 15th round comes around. He hits him one time. Ernie Terrell kind of backs up. They say he kind of bends over, and you hear it real quiet. He said, Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali. Ding, ding, ding. Ref calls a fight, not another punch was thrown. Moral to the story, fellas. Respect. Respect is earned. There's too much going on in today's society, especially in the younger generation, mine included, where there's a sense of entitlement. People feel like the world owes you everything. People owe you everything. You were born, so everything should be given to you. Fellas, that ain't how it works. The world owes you nothing. The world was here before you. The world is going to be here after you. So the sooner you can wrap your minds around the fact that this world owes you nothing, the more successful you're going to be in life. With that said, anything that you want, any dream that you have, whether it's a career, whether it's a college football scholarship, you can get it. But, like we talked about, you got to be all in, and you got to go earn Now, we can take those steps tonight. We're gonna go out on that field. You guys want respect. You talk about respect. You wanna make a name for yourself. You gotta be all in, and you gotta earn it. You can start with the all in right now. 7 o'clock. Lights come on. You want respect? Go earn it. You want to talk about it? Well, now it's time to be about it. Understood?
Yes, sir.
All right. Bring it up. We'll pray.